it comes down to that, we only have that small sample size for deck. As for Zuni, we don't have anything at all as far as I'm concerned. We quite literally have got nothing. So what kind of heroes that Zuni is going to play in the middle lane, that is, well, we got to have to find out as we go on.
Yeah, look, I think it's going to be really interesting. Suni as a wild card going into today could act as the final, maybe surprise that Vanguard needs coming into this series, right? And honestly speaking, it is what Vanguard probably needs to win this series. Should they, or if they ain't planning on going into day two.
Yeah, and going into this one, this is basically what their main roster, right? So
Yeah.
definitely a little bit of a concern from the side coming from me, but yeah, right now it's just more on how Bleed, just going through this small little road bump, especially when they're supposed to be on their road to redemption and stuff like that.
Now, of course, since we were talking about MPL, we haven't seen Zuni coming in to play the game just yet. But of course, there have been other instances in other tournaments that we did see her play light reels of Vanguard doing their absolute best. So we can't exactly count them out yet.
Yeah, but moving on, let's look at Bleed's Bleed Esports stats so far. Interesting point to note. I want to highlight that Gear and Sakitnu both can play the R-Lot. So honestly speaking, Vanguard, if you're hearing this, banning out the R-Lot may actually be worth a ban because you're able to ban out something which is super flexible that can be played by two different players, right? I mean, look at Gear and look at Sakitnu. Anything stands out to you, Abs?
Well, Seiji, I think the GPM did go down by a tad little bit, but regardless, it is still a very high amount of GPM. And Seiji, understandably, also going to be one of the main core factors as to why Bleed Esports has been doing extremely well. John coming into the picture, although for today, we didn't really quite see what we wanted from Yon as for now, right? We talked about a little bit of a disjointed information between these two players. Perhaps they will be able to come down and, of course, come back and bounce back.
Yeah, that's for sure. But over on Vanguard Esports side, we have two wild cards in Suni as well as Deck. Deck, I think, only played one game so far this season, and Suni completely. Well, it's her first game of MPL, but she's been playing in other tournaments, as you kind of alluded towards. But Jays, my question for you: anything stands out on this lineup?
I think personally, it's just Nixie's hero on the Minotaur, right? I think that's something comfort with. Suni in other tournaments, she's mostly a rover, just for your information as well. So this time around, she's winning a role of a mid laner. I mean, in terms of rotation-wise, a roamer and a mid, the rotation is almost kind of similar because you want to be clearing your waves very quickly and start rotating along with your roamer. But I think this is something that Suni should be comfortable with. But right now, it's just more of like, we talk about the plug and play. We talk about how if you are adapting, I hope that they're able to, be a lot more on the ball in a sense that they can, merge a little bit in the last minute.
Yeah, for sure. And for me, my question going into this series is whether Zuni is going to be picking those roamer-type mid laners. But let's see what the audience have to say about this matchup. 70% of the audience believes Bleed is going to take this game, take the series.
70% going over to Bleed, I think is understandable, right? Because Bleed, they have been showing very strong stance from the regular season. And of course, with Vanguard, we introduced two wildcard players. I believe that it will definitely stir up a little bit of anxiousness to the viewers, as well as, no one likes to not know something. And that is the case where people look at we don't have the information, we can't exactly back up something. And people want to be right. So predictions pretty much go according to what I expect.
That's true. And if you look on the desk, we believe that this is going to be a 2-0 game for the side of Bleed. This is actually one of the few times that I think all three of us agree.
Unanimous decision.
A unanimous decision that Bleed is going to win. It's going to be up to Vanguard to decide whether or not they're going to throw an upset towards us and prove us wrong. I mean, the last time it was a unanimous decision, I think it was the RG versus
week 2.
Sorry?
Week 2.
Yeah, it was week 2, right?
Yeah,
Where all of us got it.
When all of us are wrong. Last time we were unanimous and all of us are wrong.
So we're ready to be wrong then.
I am ready to be proven wrong, Vid. And this will be the first time I'm wrong today, by the way.
Show off.
Okay, can. All right.
All right.
Yeah, but like, I kind of agree with where Abstract is coming from. Like, usually we want to be a little bit logical about things, and I'm a very logical person myself, and I say things from not only just from what I feel, but also in terms of the stats. I usually have reason for why I say things, right? But right now, it just feel like, yeah, it feels like Bleed is the person that we know better. That's why we kind of go for that vote.
Understandable. Now, with that all said and done, we are going to be jumping into the drafting phase. And of course, we have got everyone in the seat ready for their draft. And right off the bat, we are going to be looking at a Chip, Loy ban, as well as a Minotaur ban. Understandably so from Bleed, right? We have been seeing an influx and that essentially forces Nick Stain to go for something a little bit different. But understandably, perhaps still gonna go for more teamfight oriented romance. But we did see before Nick Stain playing heroes such as Matilda before, so perhaps we'll be looking at a little bit of a shake-up. In fact, the shake-up is already having Deck and Sunny. We may be looking at a completely different kind of playstyle and completely different kind of drafting as compared to what we saw in the regular season.
Yeah, that's for sure. We see a Minotaur ban, we see the Angela ban as well. I'm pretty sure the Angela was kind of targeted. It's also a blanket ban, but also targeted towards the side of Sunni. We do see a Harif, Helkert, as well as Loi ban from the sides of Vanguard. Very smart bans, target bans, as well as blanket bans included. But no, we see a Lilia being picked up for Sunni on the side of Vanguard.
This is a very fast drafting phase. We already have Fredrin, Valentina being picked up from the side of Bleed, as well as Edith and Lilia being picked up from the side of Vanguard. I do appreciate Coach Gee just going straight out with the Minotaur and the Angela ban. I mean, understandably, when it comes down to Angela, is one of the few heroes that can stand a very good chance in the middle lane as an enchanter support, filling in for the mid lane role. And we have seen that before in the previous seasons before, because of Angela's damage coming in from the hard waves is not all that amazing.
Hello, I want to talk about the Fanny pick, man. Deck on Fanny. I mean, we saw some success on side of Yawn playing the Fanny earlier today, where he went 8-0-2 within, I think, the first 5-6 minutes of the game, but was not able to follow through. Right. I mean, I'm wondering if this is necessarily a great pick right now.
It's a little bit too early.
Right.
You're right. I personally feel that, yes, having a Fanny will definitely be great. However, there are still a lot of amazing romance that is currently still available on the board. You may want to argue that there is, of course, a very recent buff on the 27th of May, I believe.
Something like that, yeah.
Right, so it actually gives the assassin junglers a lot more of a survivability in their jungle, whereby they can definitely do more damage to invaders. However, my stand is that it actually don't make that big of a difference. If Romans do want to come and invade, they will still invade, and the amount of damage that they receive may not necessarily make that big of a difference, because the job is just to delay, not necessarily to kill you.
It's to kind of push you away, dissuade you from clearing your own jungle, right? But it seems like Vanguard, on the other hand, has heard what we said on the desk. They do decide to ban the Arlot. You can cover two sides with the one Arlot ban. Makes perfect sense. Banning out Paquito as well also makes perfect sense.
The Arlot too.
Bans are on point on the side of Vanguard thanks to Youngin. I think he was on the desk as well, I believe, right? At some point.
Yes, definitely. At one point in time, the first half we have Youngin giving us valuable information, and then halfway through he dipped out because he gotta have to coach for another team. Like,
Last season.
oh, it was last season.
It was last season.
It feels so long ago.
Oh wow, okay, so we see Ruby getting picked. This drafting phase is happening really quickly. We see Ruby getting picked up on the side of Vanguard as a really good deterrent, I reckon, into Leeds lineup, right?
Understandably, they do want to have a lot more crowd control. Edith as well as Ruby, now with the two of them, they do have the crowd control that they absolutely need. With a jungler that heads over, with a jungler that is a lot more damage style, you normally would want to have a very delicate balance between the EXP laner as well as the jungler. If one of them is a damage dealer, the other one needs to be more on the utility. So what is left remaining is going to be the gold laner from the side of Vanguard. And at this point in time, Roger has been banned, Harren has been banned. We still can definitely expect to see a Claude, but is this exactly the style of play that they want to see coming up for themselves going up against Bleed?
Yeah, that
But
is.
Chang'e!
Oh no. What's okay? Chang'e.
Uh,
Gold lane Chang'e.
Go Chang'e.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chang'e gold lane. Yeah, it could
Wow.
also potentially be the golden staff Chang'e that I've been seeing recently, where it applies on hit effects. Don't forget Chang'e does have a movement speed boost and also shields. So yeah, Vanguard is experimenting on the playoff stage when they're almost on elimination.
Well, you see, this is the time to test out strategies that they strongly feel will work, right? The thing is that if they don't do this in the first game, they 100% can't do this on the second game, right? But looking at Vanguard's lineup right now, they're lacking tankiness. They only have the Edith and tanks, but even then, when she turns to human form, she becomes pretty squishy, right? So, honestly, Vanguard's lineup makes sense, but it's gonna be extremely hard to execute.
Mostly on the late games, I feel. It's really the late game that might have been a little bit of a tougher game for them.
Yeah, for sure. But I think going into game number 1 of Series 4, Vanguard versus Blade Esports. Lads, this is the final series. Remember that loser of this series will be going home. Winner does go to day 2, though.
So with that all said and done, let's just crunch down a bit of lane priority, right? And of course the general picks coming in from both sides. When it comes down to, of course, the Chang'e as well as the Moskov, I would require these two matchups, so I'm gonna reserve my opinions at least for now. But when it comes down to the EXP lane, it's understandable that Esmeralda is definitely gonna do a pretty good job down in the bottom lane, only until Ruby starts to pick up the War Axe. Once the War Axe has come up, then it's pretty fair to say that Ruby might be and Esmeralda even further.
Yeah, Ruby is a pain in the behind right now, but we do see Suni ganking.
Oh,
Pick already committed right here. Sagitnu just absorbing all the damage coming from Suni. Sagitnu should be able to heal all the way up, but yeah, nothing could be converted down the bottom lane.
We do see Yawn taking an engage in Suni, trying to bully her out of her lane. And a first blood with the Priestess Wrath.
Yeah, Priestess Wrath just deals the killing blow onto Suni, and that's gonna limit her all the way into level 4, right? And now not only just that, no level 4, no safety net for the side of Vanguard. Yeah, Suni has to play safe going into the turtle fight.
This turtle fight is this turtle fight is gonna be just completely in Bleed's side. if
yeah, it's
things keep
completely
this
going
way.
to Bleed side with a with a mid laner that have lost I believe, one entire creep wave, unable to give it over to the roamer, which is in here. It's definitely going to be tougher for them to try to vie for the turtle fight. But it means an appearance down the bottom.
Yeah, no, just that. Nick, oh, nice. I'm offended. Will be able to pull the members for the side of Bleed, especially Sagitnu all the way. Jay right now turns into the human form, but it's going to be Yon securing the turtle instead. Jay also take down Deck at the same time. It's just going to be a massive problem for the side of Bleed right here going into the early game.
Massive problem for Vanguard, you reckon? I think Vanguard right now is looking extremely weak. 2-1, 500 gold, and keep in mind that there's only 2 minutes in the game. Turtle is... Wait, Turtle
Yep,
take it
Turtle
already.
is credited over to the Bleed side. And to make matters worse is that the purple buff has been stolen by the hands of Yawn. So at least for the completely understood what they gotta have to do, and if they do get the lead, they are immediately just gonna go straight over to the opponent jungle. That is one of the core things that a Frederick is gonna be really good at. And as for Deck, he understood that he gotta have to risk it for the biscuit. Without his own purple buff in his own jungle, he gotta have to raid.
Yep. It's going to be Sagitnu getting knocked out. Sky High Ken will be credited for that kill instead. Nick Stain goes onto human form, but at the same time, you saw that taking a second death already, and all because Gear decided to use a Divine Judgment over there.
Yeah, I mean, look, by going in and invading and stealing your opponent's purple buff, right? It forces your opponent to try to do an invade. Bleed was ready for that. Bleed countered that. Read that like a book, right? So honestly, everything is just going on the way of Bleed at this point in time. But there is a 1k gold lead, but it's not the end of story for Vanguard just yet.
Yeah, but I mean, we're within 4 minutes. Normally, in most situations, I can just pass it off very simply and just say that it's not that big of a deal. But unfortunately, within that 4 minutes, we have a mid lane that is under-leveled and unable to compare with the opponents, despite being a Lilian, which have a way better lane priority as compared to a Valiant, because they want to prioritize more on the purple buff, as you can see here.
I'm offended. Pulling Yon right there. Great health for the side of Yon.
Wait, Dexter didn't get his purple buff.
I don't know.
Ooh. The deck is right now 2 levels behind Yon at this point.
That will make sense.
It feels so bad seeing this game right now play out. Bleed is going to take the turtle without a hitch. And
The Divine Judgment on the can too.
Can only just that. I'm offended. Make sure he survived just a little bit longer. Even Ken committing he's standing strong down on the bottom lane, and that's exactly what Vanguard needs, right? Scaling over the way to the later parts of the game. We shall take a look at how Bleak cracks Vanguard, but on the other hand, Vanguard, look at the items coming off Production Stain. That is a Corrosive Scythe. No. Better heavens. Maybe for the side of Production Stain.
Alright, so understandably for the side of Bleed, they know that the name of the game now is all about contesting for the enemy's jungle to make sure that deck stays way below of Yon's EXP level, just so that the Retribution can always be used to steal away the purple buff. This way they will always be able to cripple and put this Flying Fanny into a ground Fanny. The moment that you have a ground Fanny for the entire game, even if you don't have a Retribution for the turtle.
Yep, yeah, looking for the Divine Judgment right there. Ken just pausing out just a little bit. Nick Stain jumping on Flicker at the same time. He will be able to take down his counterpart. And now not only that, picking up a double kill. Vanguard is starting to solve Bleed like a Rubik's Cube.
yeah, I mean, honestly, Bleed just looking a little bit too greedy at that point in time, trying to get a kill onto Stain. Honestly, Vanguard was so far behind, they didn't really need to make that kind of risky play, but they chose to go for it nonetheless, and they got punished.
Like a game of complacency at the point in time. They are ahead, which technically they are, but not by a far stretch. And just going into proxy, they have learned their mistake. But to be fair, even when the mistake was made, Bleed took the opportunity to have Valentina as well as Fredrin to head into the opponent's purple buff to steal the purple buff away from deck once again. So this flightless bird is quite literally going to be our quite literally gonna be a chicken of our era, unable to fly and just constantly grounded.
Chickens can fly, I think
Could
dodos.
fly last time. Last time they could fly. Now they can't.
They can still fly a little bit,
A little.
but... Where are you looking about?
But they're extinct.
Exactly.
Yep, oh, sorry, down bottom lane, Seiji. Getting burst up, and now it's going to be Sagitnu jumping with the ultimate. Looks to sneak, letting down the pain onto Sagitnu, but no follow-up right here. On the other hand, Yon is just securing onto the turtle up top, but Vanguard don't care. They're going to push.
Melted extremely quickly, right? So Vanguard still still has signs of life in terms of being in this game. Right now, the gold lead has shrunk down to about 900 gold. So Vanguard still looking as like they're in the game.
It's really tough for Vanguard to play as they're constantly going to be in a 4 versus 5 fashion. But Bleed, they will echo that as well. They will be like, you know what? If it's going to be a 4v5, we don't want that. We'll keep it to 4v4. We'll put our investment somewhere else, which is going to be putting on Seiji. Seiji might not be in most of these team fights, as he can just go off for a split push, knowing how Moskov is going to be really good at that. So Bleed should be able to tally things up with Vanguard's main 4, the available 4 at the very least. But now, finally, 8 minutes in, it does seem like Fanny can finally pick up the purple buff. But at what cost? Because, let's be honest here, even with a purple buff right now coming in from deck, can he really even kill anyone?
And the deck is still under leveled as well, right? So Fanny, we saw Fanny doing extremely well with Yon piloting her, but now we see on deck's hands not looking too hot, guys. And honestly speaking, in my experiences, when a Fanny doesn't get fed,
Spin for the win right here. Does a bit of damage onto Jay, but it barely tickles Bleed for now.
yeah, and that's the point I was alluding to, right? A Fanny which is not fed, a Fanny which is not going on curve, isn't going to be doing too much in terms of contributions.
Yeah,
to
at least
the
for
team.
now, I guess. Perhaps this purple buff should be able to help propel themselves forward just a tad little bit. I don't think that Bleed is particularly too afraid of the damage potential that Deck is capable to bring out, but damage is still damage. As you can see on the damage dealt chart, Deck is currently dealing 11,000 damage.
Big ultimate right there. Sagino taking the brunt of the damage. Looks to staying credited for the kill, but where's the follow-up coming from Bleed? It's just gonna
We see a fight being broken out.
Yep, Gear flicking forward, especially we'll be able to catch on to Nick Stain. Jay right here just outputting damage at the front line as well. Yawn just absorbing the aggression from the side of the Lord Pit. Nick Stain will go down. Sagitnu doesn't even require to join the fight. Now Bleed made it equal for now, 4v4, but now with Sagitnu in tow, it's not an equal fight for Vanguard and Bleed. Bleed takes the Lord.
Surprisingly, throughout all of that has happened already, Deck is only just one level behind of Yawn. So as much as we still Vanguard has been completely oppressed, it's not exactly the case at all. It just looks like that on the surface. Vanguard still manages to find external ways of farming. They get themselves their EXP as well as gold. If we were to look at EXP and GPM chart, I would say that they are not out. They are not exactly just yet.
As Eruption catches onto Ken. See, will not be able to connect anything. That goes for the bad light, and now will not be able to find any damage at all. Vanguard still needs to deal with the Lord marching up top.
Yeah, Lord is marching down the top side, and all the look. Tier 2 turret has dropped already for Vanguard on their bot lane. Tier 1 turret is pushing in. Bleed is doing this like a textbook, right? Lord pushes in one lane. You put pressure on another lane, and you get basically two lanes.
Yawn walking into the round bush right here will get hooked, and that's exactly what Vanguard likes. It's just picking off Bleed one by one.
This is probably going to be their MO for quite a moment, for quite a while. While the Lord slowly takes its time to stroll up to the top lane, they still have some time to actually defend the middle lane, which, as you can see here, is exactly what they do.
This time around, Ken will be the victim instead. Nick Stain stays forward just a little bit. Here's also the meter shower, but will be ending on damage. Seiji will be picking up Nick Stain with the Spear of Destruction from afar, but now Vanguard has to deal with the Lord that's watching up top.
They don't have a lot of defensive capabilities, at least from the side of Vanguard. For Luxionstein to just stand tall, put his foot down, and really just auto-attack all the way. He's gonna have to kite a lot, which is definitely gonna be one of the main problems that Chang'e have, because they have no escape mechanism. The only thing that they have is building up shields. But speaking of shields, that is exactly what Sagitnu do. Taking shields away. And technically speaking, giving shields and taking them away.
I think the Esmeralda pick into the Chang'e was very smart. Actually, Esmeralda was picked first and then Chang'e I think picked last, right?
Technically speaking, I'm not too sure if whether the interaction works this way, but because of the fact that the first skill is a shield.
Wow.
Okay, never mind.
Seiji! That second skill chat, guys. Man, never thought I'd live to see that that interaction.
Literally just F and chat voice for Deck at that point. 0-3 and 1, unfortunately, not the Fanny that he was expecting to play, I reckon.
It's not easy. I'm gonna have to say it's really not easy for Deck to be able to do much. But losing the mage in the early stages of the game, just losing the very first, just losing the second purple buff, it means a huge toll to a Fanny already. And from that point in time, they gotta have to find a way to salvage from the situation. It really boils down to back to what we talked about before. Just pick up a little bit and try to get themselves back to level 15, especially for Deck. He just needs to drive by, go for Retribution Steals, which is something that is definitely possible that we have seen before from Team Flash.
You drive by, you make it sound so easy, man, being left alone at this point.
Yeah, just typical Lord dance, right? Really like what Sagino did there. Opening up the map to make sure that there's no enemy jungle, especially when the Fannies, they like to just, fly by and then retreat and then just get out, right? And sometimes, especially when the game has reached to this period of time, yeah, you don't want to give the Lord over to the enemy team just because you made a mistake.
Yeah, every single step, every single move makes a very, very big difference at this point. Well, most teams are gathered right now. Bleed as a 5-person. Vanguard is kind of split off, but it is a Fanny. She has the high mobility and can move around the map as and when she pleases. This is a very long Lord dance, guys.
That's typical, but okay, Yawn stepping up. Ken, we're here not able to use his offended the damage Vanguard now, Gear will be stepping forward just a little bit and will not be able to catch anybody for now. Jay stepping at the same time as well, takes away the ultimate of the Lilia instead, and now y'all just deal with the Lord, and all of a sudden the Lord priority swings all the way back to Vanguard, and Jay decides to pop the ultimate instead. Seiji sitting right there, pushing deck away.
Yeah, that was a very, very weird fight. I mean, I reckon Bleed was pushing in a little bit, Gear was pushing in a little bit too deep and got punished for that.
Onwards? No, it does that onwards. Nick Stain has to get out of the way. Now the meteor shower, and that's what simple way, but Jay will be able to secure the kill onto Suni.
Bottom lane is ultimately very important, and great that Dak is actually heading over to the bottom lane. They require to put a lot more pressure onto the opposite side of where the Lord is in order to get themselves a little bit more of an edge in this upcoming Lord's fight. Because Vanguard, and within that short span of time, Dak actually leveled up to level 15 already. So they're back in game. They can definitely fight for this, and Yon is only still at level 14.
Yep, Gira getting stabbed as well. Not only just that, Yong will get deleted by Dak. He has redeemed himself, but Nice Spear coming up on the side of Seiji will be able to stun everybody. And the Spear of Destruction follow-up.
Seiji!
Jumps to the back! Destroys Ken. Destroys Luxionstein. Nowhere for them to run, but Dak is still alive. He's looking for more. He's looking for a big cover right here. Try to spin and try to delay the fight.
So even when Dak wouldn't have enough items. The only thing he has is player. They have the CC Halberd as well as the Malefic Roar. Decent items, I gotta have to say, decent items, but it's not quite enough to really deal a chunk of damage to the main damage dealers of Bleed and even deal with their main tanky players. Dak might be able to steal the Lord away, but got his
full items already. No wonder he's chunking them down.
Yeah, it's all he's all they need for the Lord, and I think that is going to be possibly how they're going to be tackling the Lord from this point onwards. That is, if they manage to take away the northern jungle dominance.
Yeah, well, with the Lord being taken down at this point, Lord is spawning and pushing in from the top side. Thankfully, for the side of Vanguard, they've managed to push out the lane a fair. The Lord's going to take a little bit to reach the inhibitor turret now. But yeah, I think this, for the side of Bleed, right, they need to put pressure on the opposite side of the map. We do see Sagitnu following the Lord, tailing the Lord, making sure that the Lord gets to the inhibitor turret safely, and we see all three
to give Vanguard free farm. But as we are speaking, the Lord is going to be making his way, placed his mark on the inhibitor turret at the top lane, and Vanguard readies himself for the attack coming in from Bleed to push in the middle lane in hit.
Yep, Meteor Shower just landing onto the high ground. On top of that, Suni can just burst down the wave very easily, so Vanguard does have a very solid high ground. It's now up to Bleed on how to peel Vanguard apart. One false step, but don't forget, Vanguard could just swipe back, especially with Luxionstein. Nick Stain gets a lot of damage. So do the cleanup.
Yeah, there's a lot of potential, I think, for Vanguard to come back into this game. Remember, the longer the game goes, the better it actually is for the side of Vanguard, right? So right now, already with Moskov hitting his 6 items, yes, he is going to be a threat going into this. But, you know, a lot more carry potential for the side of Vanguard.
In terms of item effectiveness as well, one thing we gotta have to look out for is one of the first few items that Gear picked up is gonna be the Radiant Armor. And I believe that Yon having the Radiant Armor himself as well, they should be able to mitigate quite a bit of damage from the side of Vanguard, namely Luxionstein, Nick Stain, and Zuni. With Dak and Ken being the only one that deals physical damage, the only one that really built up physical defenses really boils down to Yon as well as
Flicker for Flicker. Gear will be able to catch onto Nick Stain though. No follow-up coming off from Bleed for now. Nick Stain walks away scot-free.
Yeah, the Divine Judgment on Nick Stain was necessarily the right choice. Yes, he was a little bit out of position, but it felt a little bit too much for to fire off the Divine Judgment. I mean, after all, he is supposedly the only tanky one, I think, on the side of Vanguard. So questioning that play a little bit, but I reckon it's still not too bad.
Yeah,
Flicker for Flicker.
I mean, 90 seconds down for the Flicker of Gear. I think that has marched their way down in the middle lane to gain a little bit of that river control and slowly make their way up north to scout out the entirety of the Lord's Pit. And the only one that's in Bleed side is Yon. And the last thing that they saw was Jay in the middle lane. Where is everyone else? AG down in the bottom lane. Is that going to be found out?
Yon onward will be able to connect. Will be able to either connect. I think I heard an unfriended, but it does not hook anybody from the side of Bleed. Seiji slowly stepping forward. Don't forget, Seiji has pure defensive. Not only just the immortality, but he also has a Rose Gold Meteor to kind of deal with the damage coming out of Liechtenstein and also Deck.
I was expecting that the Immortality, the Winter Transient, as well as the Roscoe Media would be more of a rotational material, not exactly one of them being the mainstays. But build for CG, at least for now, be cautious for this upcoming fight.
We saw the Spear of Destruction trying to hit that Fanny, but evidently just missing. But I don't think Seiji actually expected to actually hit anything at that point. Just more of a, I guess,
Scouting too.
scouting tool. Yeah. All right. So with the Lord being taken down at this point of the game, I don't know what can Vanguard do to come back. So they've got all three lanes is gonna be pushing out really soon. And not to mention that mashing the crystal.
At this point in time, it's definitely gonna have to do with the mid laner. The mid laner still have one item to fulfill, and that will really help them to clear out waves fast enough, as well as to really deal with the main bulk of people that's coming straight up to going in and being the main threat of Vanguard and Bleed.
Can flicker forward just a little bit. I'm offender will be able to catch up to gear. Gears a little bit down low. Will get clean off by Deck. But the damage coming out from Vanguard is starting to show right here. In fact, Sagitnu also takes a fall. Two members from the side of Bleed already down. Vanguard still standing strong.
The death timers are going really long as well, man. They're hitting close to a minute at this point of the game. One misstep, one misplay could actually end the series for Bleed at this point.
Well, I gotta have to say, it's quite a defense that Vanguard managed to pull off for the time. It does seem like Nick's did manage to wander into the brush where Seiji as well as Yawn is at. So we're looking at 3 versus 5, and Vanguard should be able to take down turrets no problem. But killing, that might be still a problem.
Yeah, Seiji down a little bit low right here. Nick Saint gets terrified. Jay in the spot of trouble right here. Not only just damage.
Oh my god,
ensures will be able to just flip all, get on out. 3 members from the side of Bleed. It's all still in the graveyard. 2 members from the side of Bleed left. Vanguard was able to push all the way back to the base turret for now.
Massive potential there coming from Jay. I was really expecting a big play coming out, but Nick Stain did manage to pop the Primal Ref pretty much in time. Ken as well as Deck, they were all very down low on HP. That Black Shoes as well as that Flicker, it really almost got Jay out of that tight pickle. If that actually worked out for them and for Bleak to even get a couple of kills, boy, that would have been a big highlight. But luckily for Vanguard, and maybe it's not fully attributed to luck, but Vanguard still managed to get away from all of that despite a pretty big play from Jay.
Yeah, look, the fight's getting closer and closer, right? As mentioned slightly before, one misstep is going to end this game. Jay's going to be spawning in 4 seconds, so I reckon everyone's match at one, and we see Yawn making his way up, trying to scout out. He's just starting the Lord straight away.
They're not going to be caring too much about the Lord. They need information, at least for now. For Bleed, they're playing things slow, calmly. They have tried to infiltrate into the Vanguard's base, but to no avail. The amount of damage that Vanguard is able to dish out is no joke, as you can definitely see. When is all of these damage coming from? Well, we probably can find out in the post-game statistics. To be fair to say that Liechtenstein playing as this jungler might be one of the biggest contributing factor. Let's not forget that Nick Stain that's playing as this Edith could also be a big factor as well. Although he doesn't have got his Stallium Scythe, which could definitely do a lot more true damage. And speaking of which,
Sagitnu immediately gets blown out to pieces. Dag will be contributing for the kill. Seiji tries to do it, but instead of hitting onto the main hero, he hits onto the minions instead. And now Nick, the Immortality being popped. 2 members on the side of Bleed already down. 3v5. Vanguard looking solid right now. And the Lord free for them to take.
Oh, this fight.
Yawn is still available though. We're gonna still have to watch out for that.
It's not over yet. This fight is not over.
They still have his Retribution. He's still going up against Deck. Ken is right in front. But Bleed, do they even have the control that they want? Do they even have the... Jay has it, but what he still? He don't have anything.
Here comes Dak joining the
Reflections.
fight right here. It's going to be Ken
Reflections.
dragging onto Jay. The damage dealer for the side bleeder is already gone. It's just Seiji all the way left. Nick Stain goes into human form and he's actually taking a lot of punishment. And now Yawn, one by one from the side of Bleed.
What is going on?
Down. Straight to the middle. God, not touched, not death, no casualty, fatality.
That's it.
It's all gonna be on Seiji instead. Man. Madness! Vanguard against Watts. This is not the main roster. Going up with against Bleed. This is Bleed's main roster. Yes, they had a little bit of struggle in the early game. Yes, it's a lot of things they have to do. But Vanguard managed to overcome everything.
It was Bleed's game to lose. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but Bleed lost that game. Props to the creative picks, right? We talked about, you Jace, were questioning their picks, going into the game, right? You were like, Chunger, question mark?
Yeah, yeah, it's something that we don't really see from the side of MPL. Something like that was what? Pacifist last season? But don't forget, with the more recent changes from the side of Chung, yes, you do a lot more on-hit damage, and you couple that with the Lilia, right? There's a lot of wave clear that they can do, and as long as Nick Stain was able to lock somebody down in that one small little area, there's a lot of damage that from the Vanguard will be able to output against Bleed. You saw how Sagitnu just pop like nobody's business, and once Jay gets caught by Ken, drags all the way back by the Arm Offender. That's it. It's just pop.
Defensive lineup. They do have a defensive lineup. They are really good at clearing up the waves. They know exactly what they're looking for. And despite the fact that their early game wasn't all that great, and we all gotta have to agree that played to what they gotta have to do.
Yeah.
Raiding, killing off Zuni in the middle lane, just so that they will be able to over to the purple buff. After 3, that's all thrown away.
Yeah, look, I was actually that they didn't capitalize on the early advantage that they had, but I do want to see MVP is Nick Stain, 100% kill participation on the Edith, 7-3 and 11 even without the Starlium side.
Without this, right? Because that is the main thing that they want. They want a tanky front line, and Nick Stain delivered. You don't really need the Starlium side to still do massive damage. Just from the passive itself, from Primal Wrath is more than massive amount of damage, lightnings, and perhaps even from your autos. So pretty much make all great sense. Now, there is too much topics to cover. There's way too much topics to cover regarding this game, how the game should have went over to Bleed, how the game shouldn't, how Bleed shouldn't have been a deck that 1 minute from, I don't know if I remember correctly, because mathematically it sounds wrong, level 11 to 15, within such a short span of time. Fredrin was ahead in levels, and within that short span of time, boom, he flew up. Level 15, and he's 1 level ahead of Fredrin.
Yeah, but let's take a look at the highlights of this game. We saw Bleed with a really incredible start. We saw some cracks in the armor, some chinks in the armor as Vanguard started to get a few kills in return. But we can see right here, Bleed, great start, but did not know what to do with that lead. I think India plays as well.
I'm just keeping my eye onto the EX level, right? Deck level 12, 11 minutes into the game, right? And just a few seconds later, Deck is level 15. He died 15 minutes in, level 15. While this is the point in time where Yawn is still at level 14. So there is definitely still a lot of ways that Vanguard could contest. And
Only love and night are everlasting.
Over to Bleed once again, so that they can't just get the Lord because they're ahead.
Yeah, that's true. I think it was really Bleed, right? They actually were supposed to be the pick composition. They had the Kaja.
Yes.
Right? They were supposed to be the ones picking off players from the side of Vanguard, but it looked like the tables would turn, would flip over, and Vanguard were the ones that were actually picking off members of Bleed.
Now they will talk. The contribution from Khan was some of these heroes, such as Kaja, it's imperative that you draft with a battery. You gotta have a Kaja that locks people down and someone that takes advantage of that short span of time to really dish out all the damage that you need. Heroes such as Lunox, heroes such as Carry, Kadita as well. Whatever that you can do to burst that person down while he's immobile, and that is the perfect opportunity. But for the lineup of Bleed, they don't have anyone to do that. Seiji will be able to be probably will be the fastest person to bring whoever that is hooked in down a lot faster. But Jay can't do that, Yon can't do that, Sagito can't do that.
Yeah, you're right. Usually you see the Kaja being paired with someone with a lot of burst. Not in this game, not in this. Taking a look at
Welcome
the
to Mobile Legends.
we see, I guess they need to go currently with the Winter. Anything else that you guys?
5 seconds
just
till
like
the
to see
enemy
how-
reaches the battlefield.
It's just to see
Smash
how
them.
So cold and pale.
Okay,
Such as a
an enemy has been slain.
you're building HP, but more towards the physical defense part. Athena shield or Radiant armor is the same.
We both know there is no end for us.
Pretty much
Has been slain. Killing spree.
Blood
Ally has been
for
slain.
blood.
Shut down. An enemy has been slain. Double kill. Enemy double kill.
let's find her.
Fear rises, yet love stays still.
Up.
Feel the bloody embrace.
Killing spree.
Just
Slain.
never
It works for a
Shut down.
didn't get single turtle. So the
An enemy has
the
been
neutral
slain.
game
An enemy has been slain.
because of the fact that they are behind. And there's so many people who want to all of
Slain.
Lead.
Double kill. Enemy double
And more
kill.
damage taken. Less hard damage dealt. That's interesting. And more heals, right? So pretty standard fanfare, I think. On
Enemy
the
triple
side.
kill.
Lead. You guys up. Focus. Let's take a look at the next game of the season.
Killing spree. Shut down. Enemy maniac.
Feel the bloody embrace.
Turret is under attack.
they need
where is
Enemy has been slain.
and in that case and in that game, they made a decision don't have
Ally has
that
been
was the
slain.
plan.
Enemy dominated.
Actually just go on to properly take the kill.
An enemy has been slain. Ally has been
Thank you. From that point on,
double kill.
Frederick that builds up on if you want to play
Attack.
living forever is not a blessing, but a curse.
Feel the bloody embrace. Up.
An enemy has been slain. Ally has been slain.
That is
Killing spree.
Living forever is not a blessing, but a curse.
It's my turn now, and I'm so excited to talk about this Vanguard.
Feel the bloody embrace.
We both know there is no end to us.
Enemy has been slain.
Do you feel like I embrace it?
First and foremost, take a look at where Pan is. In this bush, he actually has this information on experience.
Up.
At the same time,
An enemy has been slain.
Feel the bloody embrace.
Double kill. Team destroyed a turret.
once you burst down to give me the not a lot of life bars to run through. More importantly, right after this, bleed the entire fight after that. He's gonna get caught out here, or your them's gonna get caught out. And from this point on, it was game from coming in. More importantly, they have successfully mitigated all of the lanes being pushed in on the side of Van. All 5 members, yes, but that doesn't matter. They have many life bars.
An enemy has been slain. Enemy has been slain. Shut down. Double kill.
I mean, he
An
has a
enemy has
monster
been
of a game
slain.
at this point.
Wiped
But
out.
when it reaches this particular set of moments, there's nothing much, and all they had to do was to win the game from that point on. Now, this is a very
So
exciting
cold
moment. Of course,
and
a very
pale
surprising
is the
moment
moonlight,
here as well,
and
but
my Carmilla.
Feel the bloody embrace.
Your team destroyed and slain an enemy. Wiped out.
Thank you, Kishi. And the breakdown of that. Over.
Just
Never.
I'm taking
What? I
it.
mean,
Slain.
Vanguard. That wild cards.
Shut down. Enemy double
Although I
kill.
gotta have to say that
Ally has been slain. Enemy double kill.
and they've got the early game, got a firm grasp of it, and the one time that the lane
Our inhibitor turret is under attack. Our turret has been
Living
destroyed.
forever is not a blessing.
feel the bloody embrace.
No, I'm not shaking. I actually kind of expected. When you face up against Vanguard Esports, right, with Chang'e and there's a Lilia, right? These two will usually be right. Yeah, I'm like
Defeat.
is able to get a it's kind of expected because that's how they want to do. But when it starts to go in towards the base turrets, right? That's where you're like, the way that you need to engage these fights is Kacha has to flicker forward right underneath the turret, and then immediately like the only way is you gotta have to risk as soon these bombs and the meteor shower. So it's really hard for me towards the later parts.
we count about 7,000 goal lead onwards. I don't think that lead did manage to get that kind of goal lead. At best, it was probably 3,000.
No, I saw 6,000.
I mean, the lead that I'm saying is more not about just the gold lead, right?
Okay.
It's about the map control.
Yeah.
Right.
If you notice, most of the
Right.
map control was given over time to Bleed Esports. There's a period of time you also mentioned it yourself where Fanny was saying Fanny wasn't able to get the purple buff, and all of a
Right.
sudden, Bleed Esports just forgot about that plan. Besides just waste time, I would say. I'm not gonna sugarcoat that one, right? But then when they start knocking onto the doors of the turrets, then they realize, oh no, they can wave through very quickly, right? Don't forget, when Fanny is at the base, you can actually gain energy and then just quickly just spin around and wave through all these things. You kind of expect it coming out from the side of the deck, so I wasn't surprised when Vanguard took that game.
Fair enough. Very, very, very well said. All right, so we've seen what Vanguard can do, right? But what does Bleed need to do? We touched a little bit on it, but what decisive things does Bleed need to do in order to win this game? Abstract go.
I think that they just need to get that one game plan out. Because right now, I think that they are in scrambles. I'm not too sure if whether the draft makes a difference or not, because we talked about the battery, right? Kajan not having a battery to really work with in the early stages of the game. But despite not having that battery, their early game still worked out great. But perhaps it is that battery that we need to close out the game, which they don't. So, one part of it, I want to see that from the draft. Maybe a small part of it, I was hoping that we'll be able to see more of the battery, or perhaps a more sound draft that actually works towards the later stages. So this is a 100% win rate for now. All right, we'll just let it sit. But otherwise, it is game plan. Game plan right now. She's the best player right now. 100% win rate.
Best player is Sunni at this point of the playoffs. But let's look in the pick and match right now. So we see Vanguard side bang up Boy as well as Hellkurt. A little bit of nods towards Jay as well as Gear. As opposed to on side of Bleed, we see Angela as well as Harris be manned out. I think these are pretty standard bans that we've seen from both sides. So nothing too much to talk about at this point.
I will say that Bleed would still want to go out for the Minotaur ban. I think that they know the kind of plays that Vanguard, or rather specifically, Nick Stade can do with the Minotaur. And I don't think that Bleed can... I don't think that can be complacent anymore. Initially, when I'm just thinking like when they ban out Angela and ban out the Minotaur, it feels as though to me like Bleed just wants to ban it for the sake of banning it. You can't go wrong being extra careful because this is their game. This is their game. But right now, it is more than recommended for Bleed to actually ban the Minotaur for seriousness, because you will actually have an issue against Vanguard if you don't deal with that.
Oh no, we see the Fanny being banned out instead of the Minotaur. I do
It's not
expect...
the hero that's the problem.
No, it's really not the hero that was the problem indeed. So a little bit questionable bans coming off the side of Bleed. Minotaur is open at this point, and I do expect, I think, Nick Stane to pick up the Moscow Minotaur combo.
Yeah, I think we should say
They-
we Moscow right here.
They might want to prioritize on Bolivia. It feels as though that to me, yes, the early game wasn't all that great, but I would say that she's still okay. They actually went for the Moscow there.
Yeah.
So it's fair to say that perhaps Sunni will have a lot wider of a hero pool. So in the event that we take that Lilia away, at least Vanguard still has something else that they can work with.
It's true. I mean, look, at this point in time, I think it's really hard to target ban Sunni, right? You see her have some successes with the Lilia, but you don't know what else she can play.
Exactly.
And we've had that limited information. I think letting the Lilia go is the right choice. They could, however, if Vanguard doesn't pick it up, could ban it in the second part of the banning phase.
With the two upcoming picks for the side of Vanguard, maybe we'll still be looking at a bit of a wild card. If they want, if they really want to play wild card, leave Sunni as well as deck for the final two pick, and just keep Bleed guessing. With Moskov being the first pick coming from the side of Vanguard, Bleed don't necessarily have much of an answer as to how they would really want to deal with this Moskov, at least for now. Because Vanguard, they don't have the win condition, they don't have how they're going to be playing around the Moskov, or do they have something that they want to play around the Moskov? So it is going to be a Ruby that will be picked up by Ken, as well as an X-Borg that very potentially is going to be played by Deck. So we still have the X factor coming up from Zuni.
You can also turn it around. You can have Ruby go to Rome, Expo goes to EXP, so it's really wide open for the side of Vanguard. Young
Very
just
flexible.
drafted that flexibility right here. Bleed right now, remember what I talked about in game number 1, where they're unable to find... If Vanguard decides to turtle right inside the base, at least you got the virus kind of forced them out by
Yeah.
picking them off.
Yeah, that is very, very, very true. I do actually like the Xbox Ruby pick. You mentioned flexibility, but the two combinations, can you imagine? I'm offended into Last Insanity is absolutely busted, as well as the Moskov just throwing spears at your face. So far, Vanguard has a really good core trio going on the side of the first pick. And on the side of Bleed, we do see Ling being banned out.
So for the side of Bleed, they did ban on Bleed. They want to avoid assassination attempts because right now Vanguard is very strong in the front. We can expect to see Fredrin as well as Edith constantly being in the front line, creating space for Novaria to eventually land on all those snipes. And one of the main things the Vanguard will have an answer to is these tanky heroes with an Xborg. Xborg just gonna have to build up those heat stacks, and the true damage will eventually be burning Fredrin and Edith from the inside out.
Yeah, on the side of Vanguard, we do see the Roger being banned out. I guess targeting down what potential threat Seiji can pull. So with Roger and Moskov out, question is, what should Seiji pick up? I mean, there's still quite a few gold
Maybe a
layers
Nolan
left
ban
open.
here.
Sorry?
No, I'm just thinking maybe a Nolan ban if they want to continue the fashion of banning out assassins.
No, but they choose to ban the Minotaur. I think once again, Minotaur is not a bad ban, right? Because the Ruby could be flexed to the EXP.
Yeah.
So Minotaur is the safer choice, and I reckon that's probably the right choice.
Deck used to be an assassin jungler before the meta changed.
Yep.
Ah,
Well,
I mean,
he
he
was-
literally just played Fanny.
He was very well known for his Fanny.
Yep.
Very well known for his Link. He has a very high mechanical skill on these two heroes. And yeah, we get to see it in game number 1.
Perhaps we'll be able to see it again in game number 2. Maybe he's just going to be reverting back into to his roots. When it comes down to assassin junglers, we still have probably 3 options: Nolan, possibly Amon, Julian.
Oh, dude, we guess I'm missing the cat.
Because Julian, when it comes down to what the hell is
Welcome to,
going on here?
Welcome to Epical Glory, my friends.
Oh my god!
They're having a lot of fun right now.
What am I seeing? Johnson Odette combo?
Okay, when I talked about battery, that's not what I'm asking for.
Well, you got a battery, right?
I got a battery. Johnson, Odette,
Diggy.
MPL SG.
Lee can go Diggy right here.
Are they really gonna?
flex Edith into for Sagitnu? I think Lee can still win this.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Diggy would be an excellent pick.
Yeah.
Right, and we have seen Sagino on the Aegis as well. Honestly, Diggy would solve all of Bleed's problems there. But we see a Grok
Alas,
instead.
Grok. They are playing a very tanky lineup towards Vanguard with an Xbox on the opposite side. Fair enough. Maybe Xbox wouldn't be able to stay alive long enough to really build up those heat stacks. But with Novaria, he's gonna have a really good time. I think that Jay is undisputably gonna be blasting all of these meteors at the faces of Vanguard time and time and time again. But the X Factor, Johnson Odette X Factor. How's that gonna play out? Who are they gonna be aiming on? How is that choo-choo train gonna go about? Are they gonna be an indomitable driver? I don't know what to expect from here, but this is the kind of game that we want to see, right? Something completely different, something completely fresh. Vanguard, they deliver.
Fresh for MPLSG maybe, but this looks like my ranked games, my man. With the Johnson Odette combination. But enough of that. We are going into game 2 of Series 4 for MPLSG Season 7 playoffs. Day 1. This could potentially be the final game of the day. Vanguard needs to close it up, and they will make it to day 2. Bleed needs to win this game to stay alive. And for the one more game against Vanguard, should they win.
Right off the bat, of course, we are looking at the Vanguard jungler. They have decided to start on the opposite side of the turtle, while... Okay, Bleed is doing the exact same thing. So their final destination, understandably, is going to be onto the EXP lane. A little bit more of it, pretty much giving the space that a gold lane needs in a 1 versus 1 duel. Because both of these heroes undoubtedly are relatively close range, and carry don't lose in this case of scenario. They are very well matched, so it's pretty much a duel between these two gold laners. But maybe Johnson wouldn't say too much about that. We might see more of these kind of flashes in the later stages once Johnson hits level 4.
Yeah, well, I think level 4 is going to be super key for the side of Vanguard. Once they hit level 4, they're good, all going to be online. And you know, even with Johnson's ultimate, right, he can also kind of hand deliver X-Borg into the waiting arms of Bleed, and it's going to be an absolute disaster for the side of Bleed. Johnson actually pretty decent pick into this team composition, not gonna lie.
Wait, what is a good what's a good pick?
Johnson.
No, I think right now, yeah, I mean, we joke about Epic of Glory, but if you notice how Young is drafting for this one, there's a lot of zone denial, right? You talk about Nick Stain's ultimate, you talk about Suni's ultimate, and also deck to a certain extent, the last Insanity. There's so many zone denial, and look, if you take a look at Bleed, a carry needs to get up front and personal in order to dish out the damage, and there's nobody could defend all of that one. Yes, right now, Dawn can secure the turtle for now, but you
It's
know,
understandable.
once you hit level 4, especially for Nick Stain, that's it's a Johnson camp time.
Good catch.
Yep, good catch right here. Here comes Suni as well. The ultimate, not enough damage for now. It's going to be Ken trying to make sure everybody's there right in. The wall will be built by the side of gear to kind of force and prevent Suni from stepping forward. But then again, it's also a kind of good pick-off coming out right now.
I'm pretty much seeing a deja vu right about now.
Yeah.
Right. They have managed to infiltrate into the enemy's jungle. That's great. But this time, deck playing as the Xbox doesn't necessarily need the purple buff. But it will understandably still bring down the amount of EXP and gold gain for this jungler. So as long as Bleak keeps this up by trying to get themselves, number one, the river control, number two, the jungle control, is all probably going to be great.
Suni right there. It's going to be a wall charge coming off from Gear to kind of slow down the one-more combo. That's why Gear prefers the Grok instead. Nice disengage coming out from Bleak for now.
Yeah, really well played. I mean, they knocked up Suni so she won't be able to use her ultimate there. You see Sagittu being brought down really low though.
It's not going to be a problem.
Yep. Can pick us out. That's also going to be Dag burning the Last Insanity. Sagittu still staying alive just a little bit. Jay just needs to try to land a snipe. Snipes onto Ken instead. Takes one for the team. Dag will be able to recall back to base.
You're going to have to really look out for Primal Wrath. That's the power of Edith. Being able to completely turn things around when you least expect it. Lead, they are still on a pretty good run, I'll say, with 1600 gold advantage with a 2-kill lead on top of Vanguard. Vanguard still is unable to find themselves those kills that they definitely need. But to be fair, this is not necessarily a pick-off comp that we want to see. Or maybe it is, because we're looking at the Johnson.
Right now, it's going to be Johnson. Suni activates the ultimate as well. It's Yon though. The Appraiser's Wrath takes a lot of damage from here. Ken will be dragging Yon. Deck stepping forward to burn, but now Suni getting caught right here. Jay landing down the damage. Sagittu picking up a double kill instead. 2 members with the side of Vanguard already down. Now the turtle fight will ensue, but there's no fight at all because Lead has secured 3 members on the side of Vanguard.
We're talking about value here. You're taking 2 ultimates from a roamer as well as a mage to try to kill one person on the opposite side, being the Frederick in this case. If you're unable to kill one person, then you are losing in the ultimate economy.
You couldn't even take down the Frederick, man. I mean, like, the Frederick was just happily just taking the damage, and he's like, you know what,
Appraiser's
great
Wrath.
help, Appraiser's Wrath in your face, let's go. Look, Yon was just chilling. And it's just unfortunate to see 2, like you said, ultimate economy, 2 ultimates used in exchange for nothing. Not even a kill of the target that you chose, by the way.
Right now, I'm not really liking this right here. Yes, it's kind of interesting to see this, but don't forget, whenever Suni is in the car, but now Seiji will be actually get bang on top. It says Seiji step forward. The amount of zone denial will not be able to found though. Suni takes down Gear, however, but Seiji will be able to get out of dodge. Grace Strap will be able to land. Lucian Stain, nice side step right here. Nick Stain, Lucian Stain, the Stain brothers making word, but Jay punishes Nick Stain right in the middle of the head.
I felt that meteor hit me, man. Dude, that was threading a thin needle. But Jay, of course, picking up the pace as well, showing why he can play the Novaria with confidence.
Weapon Master Emblem onto Odette.
What?
Who wants more growth out of her items, more damage into the later stages of the game. Seems like that Odette and that Johnson combination might actually be one of their main win condition that they want to see in the late stages of the game. They just want to go for a foolproof crash and kill.
especially since we're looking at Gear, Yon, and Sakit. All three of them are the undesirable crash target. And all these three heroes want to be crashed upon. And we're talking about Grok too. When it comes down to building up the barrier, that is perfect. You make him crash, you lose one ultimate on the opponent side, and you lost absolutely nothing.
That is very, very true. And actually, you know, while driving, right?
Yep, no, it's just that Sagitnu, takes the crash right underneath the turret, and they know they cannot fight. And oh, Vanguard has to bugger off.
I was gonna say, right, so Suni's actually losing valuable
Yes.
XP whilst doing all of this, right? She
Yes.
is only level 7 compared to Jay's level 9. That's 2 entire levels down. And honestly, I don't even see where to farm it, where she's getting farmed.
You know, they're repeating this vicious cycle over and over again in great hopes that they will be able to get the kill. So with Suni with not
This is
enough
sanity.
EXP to even buff up her ultimate damage later on, and not enough gold to really do anything, while also missing out on the macro portion of the game, because they can't apply pressure in the turtle's pit, they can't apply pressure on the opposite of the turtle's pit, they can't really show and put up bushwhack positions. They're, well, let's just put it this way, they're going on a road trip, and this road trip is a venture to the unknown.
Country road.
Take me home.
And that's literally what it feels like at this point. I'm just watching a car drive around. Hey guys, just checking, are we playing the right game?
I question myself sometimes as well.
Feels like we're playing some sort of racing game instead of MLB.
But you gotta admit,
But you got
Nick's driving
his
skills
driving
really
skills
good.
good. I
It's
want to
really
say that as
good.
well. He actually sticks really close to the wall at times, and he don't crash.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing, but now it's going to be
Hello?
crashing.
Okay, never mind.
Soon he goes into ultimate, and now the members from the side of Vanguard will forward in. Don't forget, there's also a turret working against them, and now Yon coming from the flank. Gear as well, the wall will be built. The wall charge right in the face, and Resurrection staying on the other side of the wall. Now the Gear wall actually went in the favor of Vanguard, but now Bleed will be stepping forward instead. Jay slamming Suni down, and now it's two members from the side of Vanguard down. Bleed will be abusing that. They'll be taking those.
Yeah, look, honestly speaking, 2-for-1 trade, that's pretty worth it inside of Bleed with 3.3k gold lead at this point of the game. But we do see Suni doing the highest amount of damage, no surprise there.
It's pretty funny, actually. This game is kind of like a trolling game coming from side of Vanguard after winning game 1. I'm not too sure whether this is complacency or this is actually just a legitimate game plan that they have pulled off before, or they so this is what happens, right? You pick up heroes or strategies that is not commonly used in competition, where these professional teams may not necessarily be well prepared for it. I think that is probably something that Vanguard is trying to tap into. But amidst of doing all of these strategies, they are still missing out valuable resources, with Nick Stain Anthony still at level 8. At this point in time, Nick Stain Anthony gotta have to buy their own boots.
They need to do something because this does not seem to be working for them as of this point. But keep in mind that there hasn't been many big team fights as of yet, right? So potentially that's what Nick Stain is looking for as he crashes
Oh,
into
so
the
you know, once again, there's a lot of damage. Lucian Stain just outputting Spear's damage right here. Now there's also, going to be the wall charge connecting onto Nick Stain. Sage is just going in the speedy light was right here. Lost Insanity pop. Would not be able to tag onto anybody but Jay, just outputting damage. But once again, Vanguard is losing HP, but they will be able to pick up Siggy.
Something's not right over here. I'm looking at the fact that Nick Stain and Suni has constantly been going around the map, not really clearing waves or playing the macro game. Suni is currently at 4,400 gold. Nick Stain at 4,100 gold. The one person that should be going around and getting a lot of farm is going to be Lucian Stain with 0s to 0s to 4, with 4 assists to his name. He's currently 4,300 gold. What gives?
That is strange, man. It could be a visual bug, perhaps, but moving back into the match, we see.
Oh, Ken getting strength. Not only just that, it's going to be CG. Petrify will be able to land. CG spamming the speedy light wheels. He gets all away. Yon as well, one in the door. Last Insanity right there to burn him to pieces. And now, Vanguard just creating a limitable space. Yes, they sacrifice 2 members, but they take down Yon instead.
And Lord hasn't been picked up yet, actually, if you notice. Lord is still alive and healthy, so this the play that Vanguard just did bought them enough time, and the goal lead has shrunk, by the way. Right now, lead only at a 2.2k goal lead ahead. Previously, it was, I believe, 3k. So, okay, looking at the state of the game at this point in time, right? We're 11 minutes in, 5 kills from Vanguard, 11 kills from Bleed. Vanguard, honestly, just needs to buy a little bit more time, right? If they buy a little bit more time, I reckon that this Odette Johnson combination is going to be doing a lot more, especially later in the game when everyone is grouped up for the Lord fight.
How long would that take? That is the question. Because they have been doing this time and time again, and their
Oh,
EXP
that's
is-
another crash right here. Suni immediately gets sniped down by Jay. I feel like Bleed has figured out the pattern right here. Not only just that, CG steps forward, it's just shredding onto Ken's damage. The barrier will be built. Jay lands down the snipe, and Yon works on the Lord instead.
Yeah, seems like the strategy has been figured out. Nick Stain and Suni need to quickly pivot to a different kind of strategy. If not, this is going into a game 3.
Yep, nice adaptation coming up from Bleed right here. Yon secures the Lord for themselves, zoning deck away. Nowhere the deck to step forward, and not only just that, Jay letting down the damage, just dissuading Vanguard from stepping forward to take the Lord pit.
Yeah, this game, at this point, Vanguard needs to pull off something drastic. They need to
Not again. Oh, here we go. Another crash right here. And it's also going to be Suni stepping forward. Immediately gets shredded by Seiji, though. Get the target focused down. Looks to stay just shredding. We'll be able to find Sagitnu instead. That's going to be a trade for the mid laner and the EXP laner.
It's a 1-for-1 trade. Pos 3 for Pos 4. Still not exactly a very good trade for Vanguard. But regardless, Bleed has been slowly and very gradually just earning these income, all these passive gold. They are now 4,100 gold ahead of Vanguard, not necessarily by a large margin, especially since probably, 5 minutes ago is just only been 3,000 gold. So Bleed is not exactly having that good of a game either. If they were to go up against a more proper lineup, I gotta have to say that they probably will start to lose those lead.
Watch your
early.
back line. Oh, that was so close. Nick Say could have just crashed onto them, and now Ken takes a bit of damage from the side of Bleed. But that could have gone so badly for Bleed right there.
We just see the Johnson coming around for the long flank, perhaps. They're closing in. Oh, dude, it seems like they actually crashed into something.
Get it scouted out instead, and now Suni and Nick Say on the other side of the wall. Jay just outputting damage, hoping it connects. But once again, Bleed pushing Vanguard back into the wall once again, and this is similar to game number 1, right?
Similar to game 1, but slightly different game state. If you notice, the team compositions wise, in terms of the Johnson and the Odette, they aren't going to be doing too much if they're going for straight on 5v5 team fight, right? Johnson and Odette much better at picking off targets.
At this point in time, I just really hope that Nick Stain as well as Suni did manage to buy quite a bit of investments just so that they can improve their passive income at this point. Just keep on racking up all those goals, slowly get them. Hey, I have a house, a rental unit, here's some more passive income, money. Because they're not farming, they can't farm. So they gotta have to find some goals somewhere else.
Started to sound a little bit like Mo Man, but
I know, right?
But yes, you're absolutely right. I think they're both down on EXP and farm. Keep in mind, Suni's at level 11, and Jay is level 14. That is 3 levels right now. There's a 3-level gap right now. And even on the side of Gear is level 13. That's 2 levels ahead of Nick Stain. Honestly speaking, the strategy seems to not be super hot, but they're still sticking to the guns.
One thing that I just can't understand is the gap and the gap between the mages. It's a 4-item Novaria versus a 2-item Odette, but yet they don't seem like they are leading by a lot at all. The gameplay doesn't feel as though like Bleed is having like a tremendous time, like crazy time. It just doesn't translate well.
You know what this feels like?
Game 1.
No, it just feels like a period of time back in history, right? You just want to slow down the enemy from advancing. That's basically what Vanguard is doing right now.
Yeah, that's true. They are preventing any kind of movement on the board at this point. Odette having 4k difference between the Novaria and the Odette, it's brutal at this point. 16 minutes into the game, with the enhanced lord rushing down the mid. Vanguard, I don't see a way for them to win this, to be honest.
As much as I really want to see them be able to win with a troll draft like this, it would be funny, but it would be such a painful lesson to bleed. And
Yeah, it is.
I don't want that from the Bleed boys. So technically speaking, looking at them doing this is pretty okay.
Not charging in the mid. Nobody from the side of Vanguard is actually focusing on in. Jay just outputting damage out from the front. Where is Seiji? No, Seiji is already long gone. But Sekinu, here comes the secondary amount of damage. Will be shredding Natsuni. Will be taking down Ken at the same time. And now Jay, landing the snipe, is up to Liechtenstein to basically focus on the Lord instead. But the Lord is already hinging onto the core as well.
Ouch.
And Bleach, but no, it's gonna be wave cleared for the side of Vanguard, and they will defend for now.
For now, because the bottom lane wave is coming in as well.
Oh,
Jay!
shit! Spill destruction, catches gear, and now he blinks all the way back to the wave clear. And man, they defended.
The fight is not over yet, though. Never mind, it's over now.
What is going on?
Guys, I don't know what's going on. Guys.
What is going on in this game? How did Bleed not finish that game?
7 is to 16. I can understand that Liechtenstein, understandably, he clears waves fast, right? Looking at his passive and all, and the spear that landed, pretty solid, right? Did manage to pop a couple of immortality over to the side of Bleed, stirred and instilled some chaos and fear onto Bleed, because I'm pretty sure that by now, Bleed already have this this fear of rejection in their hearts, and they are just like, you know what, we gotta play safe, we gotta be real careful, we can't make a mistake now in fears of repeating what happened in game number 1. But this indecisiveness may also actually turn out to be their downfall, which I really don't want to see that happening.
Right now, Lee just taking it slow right here. Just looking for any pickoff right here, and they're not really off a catch. In fact, it's Vanguard's game to kind of find another person to catch, but it's smart that Bleed doesn't want to handshake cards right now because the Lord has spawned. As long as they keep Vanguard back in the base, they do have something to work with.
Yeah, we see Bleed bring up the Lord. Lord super. It's gonna be their definite win con, right? We see deck being kind of chunked out a little bit in terms of HP, but I believe Bleed is just gonna safely beat Lord.
Tony and Nick State is still at level 13, guys. They're still at level 13.
Oh, here we go. It's gonna be smashing onto Yon instead. of Petrified will be able to land, and Jay gets hacked by the Spirit of Destruction. Seiji will be able to shred down Nick's name right here. Suni and the Wild Charge connects onto Ken, gets knocked up sky high. Seiji picks up a double kill. Deck burning Sakitnu on the other side. Suni in no man's left. Nicholas back to safety. Deck is still alive though. No retribution. Yon still has his own. And Deck, there's no last insanity unless Liechtenstein can do something, anything to kind of slow it down. But Retribution still connected by the side of Yon to secure the Lord. Last insanity, but a bit late. And it's also Jay, my man. I puckered right there.
Predicted.
I puckered.
I squeezed. Yeah, squeezed. a quick little clench at the point in time.
The timing though coming up on Jay.
Man. But with that all said and done, the Lord is now going to be marching in the middle lane. Gear and Sakinu unfortunately would not be here to support with this Lord push. As such, this Lord take is probably not going to amount to anything, as Vanguard should be able to dispatch the Lord as quickly as possible with their current lineup.
He is having a lot of trouble to end this. And this has been a coherent, consistent theme, even in the upper brackets against RSG, right? They cannot end the game. It's just mind-boggling how Bleed was able to, just do everything according to textbook, right? But how are they going to end this game against Vanguard when Vanguard has just decided, okay, you know what? I'll play the long game with you. Now the items are all more or less equal. Suni has already secured Blood Wings.
Finally, level 15.
Yeah, and now the levels and the items doesn't matter anymore.
No, it still matters because Zuni still have one more slot to fill.
No, but honestly, the later this game goes, right, the less it makes a difference. And honestly speaking, it really feels like a repeat of game 1. yes, it's a lot more hard. It's a lot harder for Vanguard to pull off their composition. But honestly speaking, it's like you said, abstract. It feels weird. It feels like the gold amount didn't amount to anything for the side of Bleed. Yes, they pushed in all 3 turrets, but honestly, it's all 3 turrets down. 1 minute to the next Lord. They should be able to theoretically just push in.
They've took Lord 3 times. They've got all the turrets down. They took 3 turtles. They have double of the kills on this against Vanguard. They have, and Vanguard have got 2 players that is not active in lanes. The lack of macro from the side of Vanguard should have been the massive crack in the armors of Vanguard, where Bleed should be able to take advantage of the places where the roamer is not able to open up the map. Places where Bleed can actually stay in the brush and waiting for that perfect opportunity. They have Jay that gives them information. They can poke. They can play the poke. They can play that steady game of I stare at you, you stare at me for the longest period of time, because Bleed will have the advantage due to the fact that they have an Novaria. But that is not coming into fruition. Bleed is still having issues to end the game over against a lineup like this. Yep.
Here comes again, Yon will get stunned right here. That's also going to be Seiji all the way in the back line. And nice stun. Yon has to bugger away because he's taking so much damage.
Ooh.
Jay, Luxenstein gets knocked up at the same time, right in the pay. Jay will be able to secure onto Luxenstein. Not much damage from the side of Vanguard anymore. Lee will be able to collapse onto the members of Vanguard. Jay taking names 1 by 1. 3 members of the side of Vanguard already down. Bleed maybe just gonna ignore the Lord, because look at the death time, it's super long, and Vanguard cannot afford any more casualties. And Bleed taking down the deck. Ken will be next. Seiji just focus on the coin stand. GG, ladies and gentlemen. Bleed claws all the way back up against a Johnson on that drop.
And the head rolls for the side of Vanguard. They're unable to continue on with the McDonald's drive-through in this game. I guess they have been driving around a little bit too much for them to gain a grasp and the control in the mid stages and the late stages of the game. All the way until the end game, it took too long.
You can tell Abstract and Paul, you can tell Bleed, that amount of adrenaline must be exhausting for all of them, right? Just like, take a look at their faces. They're like, what have I just played up against?
I think it's actually relief that is on their faces right now. You know, they're like, oh, thank God the game was over. It was a long, long game. We were in the driver's seat the entire time, but we could not close the game. And honestly speaking, Bleed, we want to see more of what you guys did in the regular season, right? You guys were able to close the game very decisively. I think one of the fastest games in MPL SG Season 7 was actually done by Bleed. They just stomped. I can't remember which team it was. Was it RG? It feels like it was RG.
Yeah, it was a 2-0
Yeah.
2-0 towards RSG.
Exactly. So honestly speaking, it's a little bit confusing as to what's happening with you guys right now. But on the side of Vanguard, really creative picks. Right, so I want to see more of that.
Creative.
I want to see more of that going into Game 3. But MVP for Bleed, guys?
J perhaps?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's been consistent in landing the snipes, creating awkward moments for the Sun Vanguard, right? Just those pokes are starting to come true, and yeah, in 908, I'm caught.
Oh, 0. Oh, okay. That actually kind of surprised me a little bit, considering the fact that we're looking that didn't quite land onto the Oden at all. We can definitely see that Vanguard was trying to adapt things a little bit more, even after Crash